So good morning to all of you. This is our first class, I think, or this is the first class? Okay. For which exam you are preparing for? Basically this batch is for which exam? UPSC, OS, OPSC. So this is the first beginning introductory class of mine, that economics. See, before going to the subject matter or dealing with the subject in detail, or we have to first know the exam and the syllabus, nature of the exam, or type of questions they generally ask over the last few years. Basically I teach in UPSC Delhi and Hyderabad. So I come and I take also classes. I've started taking classes here recently. I mean past 3-4 months, means last 6 months. But here the thing is, my orientation will be UPSC point of view. Everything, if you are also preparing for UPSC, you can also write UPSC, no problem, and you will get almost all the questions in UPSC. You can write UPSC comfortably without any obstacles. When almost means OPSC is a subset, UPSC is the superset. If you are preparing for UPSC, obviously all the exams are the subset of that. And our course coverage will be extensive. I will not be confined with OPSC. What is our syllabus? Leave it. You can give any exam and you will attempt, you must attempt all the questions. And there might be 90 plus minus 5% errors. You can have but 90% accuracy. That your target should be achieved 90% in economics. I am not telling all the subjects, whatever I am dealing with economics. And you will be very, but your background subject, whatever is educational background, you are now, assume that you are at the scratch at zero, ground zero. You have to start with that objective. We have not, we have already, you are from non-economics or non-social science background, means science. There are people who are from engineering and other streams. They are not related at all to this subject. So looking into that, every aspects we have to deal with the subject. But I will take a brief introduction from you also. What you means, what is your background basically? How many people are from social science or economic stream? How many people are there from social science background? Arts background? Any people? Humanities, arts? And graduation, you will tell the highest graduation, because I should know your batch composition, your background, so that a good diversity, generally diverse background present in the academics or civil service field. So you should know that. But forget what either you know or don't know economics, but but one thing you have to maintain: sincerity, regularity. Not miss any class without any fail if it is worst case or any unavoidable circumstances is there, because every class is important and you don't know questions will come from which class. Maybe some class you will miss, and that is very important for you. So try to attend all the classes. What is your educational background? Please name and educational background. Can you please tell me?
Graduation in chemistry.
Highest qualification? Okay, graduation in chemistry.
Soumya Sangamitra par MTech in instrumentation engineering.
From which college?
NIT Agartala.
NIT?
Agartala.
Tripura.
Nikita Dora ME in geography.
From which? ME in geography. So that is also science, okay?
This one, master degree in biotechnology.
You have attended some classes, I think, first. Master degree in?
Biotechnology.
Biotech,
Arena Science BTech in computer science.
From which college? Kostav.
Susmita Digital Bachelor in Physics.
Physiotherapy. From which college? Politpur, okay.
So Prakash Acharya, BTech,
Silicon.
Padmini Naik, MSc Life Science from Central University, South Bihar.
South
Bihar Gaya.
Central Institute Bihar, huh?
Amit Kumar, MSc in Botany, Barampur University.
From?
Barampur University.
Barampur University.
Tulsi Malik, Graduation in Physics.
Graduation in Physics. From which college? FM College.
Rajata Raj, BSc Chemistry Honours, North Odisha University. Vanishwari Mishra, Commerce Graduate, BJP College. Dipali Bastia, BSc Physics, Barampur. Suvasil Sir, Physics Honours, Barampur University. Shatanjali Vishwal, BSc Botany, SBM College.
SBM? Which is, where it is?
Jagatsinghpur.
Jagatsinghpur.
BSc Botany, Barampur University. Sushri Smita, MBA, Institute of Cooperative Management.
Institute of Cooperative Management. Where is it?
CRP Square.
Oh, अच्छा भुवनेश्वर.
Pitul Kumar Sethi, Zoology Honours, MP Short Honours.
ज्ञानेंद्र महंत BSc एग्रीकल्चर अंबेडकर यूनिवर्सिटी आगरा.
आगरा. Open University.
Yes.
Sabhya Naik BSc in Geology.
Which college? Thursday. Arts means BA or MA? No, BA or MA? Bachelor of or Masters. What is your highest qualification? Arts means you will not say because you are preparing for OPSC. Prepare for the interview also because this preparation starts from the top. Interview, mains and prelims. This is integrated approach. So never try to develop your personality to a civil servant. BSc. BA. BA in any arts honors pass. BA Open University. Ambedkar na.
Subrat Bardana, MA Geography, Uttar University. So this is Sabu, BTech in Computer Science.
BJP. Kostu. BTech. Okay. How many years?
Divyaranjan Deep. I have completed my graduation from Ravenshaw University, Kolkata, BSc Chemistry.
Best chemist.
Saurav Mahapatra, BTech in Mechanical, OEC.
Sudhanshu Jawahar completed MBA from Madhusudan Institute of Cooperative Management.
Subrat Malenka, Bachelor in Tourism and Studies, Marginal University, Kolkata.
Which college? IT.
Ranjan Kumar Mahanta, BTech in Electrical Engineering.
Mechanical.
Electrical.
Which college? Vivekananda.
Jadoni Mahanta, BTech in Mechanical Engineering, Vivekananda. Rashid Pradhan, BTech in Electronic Study Communication, Sikram College.
Last to join, what is your introduction? Educational qualification? Sit and tell.
My name is Aarohan. I completed BTech from CET University of the Belgium, Instrumentation and Electronics. So my name is Nandita Mashi from PMBC Varampur, Computer Science branch.
BTech.
Yes, sir.
This is a majority from science background or engineering background. So very few from arts or social science, very few, nominal. It is almost negligible, you can say, or countable, it's 2-3% maximum. So this is the scenario, this is the actual trend. Majority students come from engineering or science background rather than arts. So, okay. So see, though this economics, we have to, it is not actually economics, it is Indian economy or economic development. Indian economy, basically we have to know Indian economy means here no academics course, like it is not like academics means no theory, micro, the word is called microeconomics is not there. Those who know economics a little bit, micro means what? Theories, graphs, concepts. It is not totally dealing with the economics portion. It is Indian economy, it is separate branch of economics. Indian economy basically deals with what? The nature of India. You have to study the Indian characteristics of India in terms of economic variables like Indian polity. You are studying Indian polity, similarly Indian economy. The economic aspects, study India from the economic viewpoint. What is our GDP? Why India is, what is the status of India compared to other nations? Why India is lagging behind others? What are the India's strength, weakness, opportunity, threat? What are the challenges of Indian economy? Then there are various variables. You have to study Indian economy. We have very general, like a current issues. It is a contemporary, dynamic, most dynamic, because it is a, you have to know the India from the current point, from the what is the present status. So that is means what? You have to go through this, mostly it is related to current affairs. You can say that's why Indian economy, science and tech, Indian polity, that is also current. So Indian economy, science and tech, basically very much dynamic. Very much dynamic, because suppose I told you what is GDP. Now GDP, you know what is the present GDP growth rate. Why GDP growth rate is falling? What are the parameters affecting India's growth? What are the parameters affecting our India's, you know, that composition, economic, you can say mix, means agriculture sector mix. So agriculture industry, their composition. So it is a very general generalistic orientation. There is generalistic mindset. No need to be a specialist. No need to follow any book, traditionally standard book like this. That is not required. Like any microeconomics or whatever the economics books you are following or people follow in the academics, it is not required for this exam. So what is required for this exam? First of all, for the beginners who don't know anything, A, B, C of anything, for beginners, for very elementary study of economics, you have to follow as usual. If you have attended any other class, NCERT is recommended for this course. NCERT is for the beginners, not for all. I'm saying for the beginners means who don't know anything. For them, it is I'm recommended. It is recommended means I'm not telling you can. If you don't buy also, you don't study this. It is also, if you attended my class, everything will be cleared. I recommended, but you can. People generally ask what books to study after the class or some days after. So that's why I'm telling this. Otherwise, there is no source, no reference. For civil service, you have to be, but one thing must, that is newspaper. This is must to study. You cannot compromise, you cannot substitute this with anything. Because newspaper, okay, suppose I will finish this class within a stipulated time period, whatever this timeline, within a timeline I have to finish. Then what happens after that? When you will give the exam, when you write the exam, the things will change. Things are in continuous change. So if you do not keep yourself updated with the current news, daily news, how will you get to know what is happening? So you have to always, this is you can say irreplaceable, or you cannot say it cannot be substituted with anything else. This is must. So this is must, and but this is recommended. You can follow or you may not follow, even if that is, but this is recommended because you have, for beginners who want to study anything. Polity also NCERT they recommend. History also NCERT they recommend. NCERT. This is also for UPSC and also OAS. So NCERT is first. Then if you want any standard book, you can follow any standard book, no problem. Any book is good, provided you must understand that book. That language should be understandable to you. And you don't think of file up the books, don't think that you will buy the very bulky books and you will not technical jargons and you are not understanding the language, and it is very like Dutt and Sundara, Mishra and Puri, they are meant Indian economy books. It's a very big book. For those who are specializing this course, they can buy this or they will study. But your is generalistic knowledge. You should develop a very concept, a kind of general aptitudes towards the India. General aptitude in terms of economy, polity, science and tech, everything. General. This exam is generalist, not specialist. This exam requires generalist because you know each and everything you are studying. So you are not a specialist, you are a generalist. That's why newspapers, daily news is very important for any course, any because it will help in essay, it will help in interview, it will help in mains writing, all subjective along means other course. It will help you in preparation of optionals. Newspaper will help you in a multifaceted, or you can say very varied ways. You can get benefits. It can help you in multiple ways. So that's why newspaper is very important. And NCERT for the beginners. This is two. And any book you can find or any study material which is given to you, that you can follow. This is more than enough for the exam. Okay, any study material is given, then that's also because the study material is nothing but compilation from various books and NCERT. Study material is a most concise way of presenting the things, and it will give you more aligned to the preparation. What is the exam requirement? They have aligned this study material with that exam syllabus, so that is highly useful. Okay, this is how you have to go through. Okay, any question from here, and always understand. If you are not understanding anything, you can ask. You have all the liberty to ask any question, because this is a participatory class. It is not that unilateral. Whatever I will say, you will listen. You can ask any doubt, any question you find relevant and you don't understand also, that you can ask or get back to me, so that you can clarify more on that issue and we can extend our coverage. Okay, you can expand on that issue. So anything you want to ask, because generally people ask after what book I have to refer. So there is no such standard book which will give you which has everything that exam requires. No one book is sufficient. So you have to refer many books. That's why no book is, you may follow, you may not follow any book, but study material is more important. NCERT is important. Newspaper you are following means you are at very much safe zone for this exam. You have already preparing at that level. So you are highly aligned your preparation with the civil service exams. You are following a newspaper and NCERT. This is the crux. This is actually your main source. Okay, the main source. So what are the general topics that we have to cover? Do you have any idea? What are the topics? Have you brainstormed? Have you done a gone through the syllabus, or have you done some kind of little bit first-hand information? Have you gathered that what books, what are the topics that we need to know in Indian economy? What are the topics generally covered in Indian economy? What are the topics are there? Do you have any idea about these topics? What you are going to study? What are the topics covered? So here basically you have to know characteristics of Indian economy. Then the different concepts of national income, accounting concepts or national income, where you will find GDP, GNP, all these things. Then you have to know through inflation, what are the issues of inflation and related terms. Then you have to know growth and development, where you have to compare with GDP and GNP. Growth and development, where you have to contrast GDP versus other developmental indicators. Okay, getting on. Then you have to know planning and other aspects, Indian planning, economic planning in India, and planning means economic planning. Then you have to follow the Niti Aayog will be discussed, and planning commission, role of planning commission, which was a old or already replaced body, or which you can say is very old, rather than how Niti Aayog came. So planning commission or Niti Aayog, their comparison and their roles in India's growth. Okay. Then in economic planning, then you have to study different terms, inflation, then monetary policy and fiscal policy. Then you have to know money and banking. Then you have to know money market and capital markets. Forex means international trade you have to deal with. That is balance of payments. International trade and balance of payments. Then you have to study different sectors of the economy. Not necessarily in order. We may follow any topic which comes, but these are topics, different sectors of economy. Basically, this will be dealt after these characteristics and these different sectors of Indian economy. Means agriculture, industry, what are there? Then you have to know financial. This is money and banking, where we will deal with financial, including all these things. Then different sectors, the banking, everything. Then you have to know money market difference. Then finance, international financial organizations, international financial institutions, or World Bank, IMF, all these things. Understand? And other than this, there are current aspects. What are the contemporary? But you have to follow for this newspaper rather than the class. This will help. Newspaper will help contemporary issues in issues in economics or in economy. Controversies means suppose any new policy comes and it is schemes where you have to what? Schemes and policies that become in economic matters, schemes and policies. But this is current affairs already if there are schemes and policies. But this is less dependent on class and more dependent on your source, and if there is a special class which is current affairs based, it will help, because our coverage is basically to give you the concept, and also I will cover the current affairs but related to that concept. If anything related to national income comes, then we have to go through that. But in the current issues, basically OPSC, state level, or there is also Odisha economy. So where here Odisha economy also you can come. Odisha economy is what? See, any economic structure is same, but Odisha economy was what? Odisha composition, profile, economic profile of Odisha. So what is our agricultural resources, distribution, that is also current, general facts of Odisha. So it is also there. But for yours, Odisha UPSC, but it is not in UPSC, Odisha economy is also a portion. 25% important, 25%. Odisha economy and Odisha economy is contemporary issues. What are the government is doing policies making in Odisha, especially Odisha government, what is doing, they are doing for their economic growth. What are the make in Odisha, there is a conclave. Like for looking into make in India, they have make in Odisha. There are industrial policy of Odisha. So like this, some policies, schemes of Odisha, you focus. So this is, you have to highly devote time. This is not, once you know these things, you can get and understand from any newspaper or magazines. What are the profile of Odisha? What is our status? Okay, Odisha GDP growth rate. What is Odisha or industrial sector growth? Poverty line, Odisha's poverty line. All these things are there. So this is, other than this, these topics are very general for UPSC, very general topics and common topics and important. This is only. Okay, there is also planning, employment resource mobilization. Employment means what are the employment problems in India. The general, very general stick. That's why there is no book or nothing will help you. What is problem of, what are the status of employment in India? Okay, there is India is suffering from disguised unemployment. India is having a kind of jobless growth. This was asked in UPSC mains. India is facing jobless growth. So how can you get rid of this? How can you remove from this? How can we bring more employment, generate more employment so that India can achieve this job-led growth? India's growth is okay. India is growing at a very high, faster pace. But still growth is not commensurate. Growth is not parallel with the employment. There is a large section of the population who are unemployed, and major chunk of the population society remains unemployed or underemployed. In that case, you cannot say growth is sustainable. Growth is unsustainable. Growth is not, you can say it is harmonious growth. So it is a problem. This that growth is eccentric. Growth is abnormal. All these things. So for this, the employment, what are the employment issues? That where you will know this information? You have to go through the news. So news, always keep abreast yourself of the daily news, which will be very, very immensely important for this exam. Okay, these are the topics for UPSC. I just sketched, I just given an overview of these topics for UPSC, from UPSC point of view. So this is also in UPSC, they may not ask some topics, they may skip some topics for them important, but this is all topics are for UPSC. Okay, and ways you will find the topics will come from this generally. They ask inflation, they ask balance, all these GDP, national income, they ask stock market, they ask money market, they ask banking problems, they ask our development model, all these things. Okay. And if you have doubt from here, you can ask. Always you ask. If you ask anything, it will be more clear. The more you ask, the more it will be clear. Okay or not? This is the first class. So you better prepare. basically 12th macroeconomics, 12th. There is 11th also, 11th macro, 11th national income, some topics, whatever the topics have written, but majorly 12th economics, 12th standard. Macro, in the economics means macroeconomics have to study, in Indian economy, that is macroeconomics. Okay. 12th, 11th, some portions are there where national income, like whatever the topics you'll find in 11th, you can pick out. 11, 12 basically, but 12th is 90%, 10% 11th. Some topics are there. For example, some background or history or some are written national income or some topics. Okay. So now what is your question? Any question from this? There is, we have not started anything. You can ask any question related to our syllabus or any which book you want to follow or which things, sources you want to refer, or what is your modus of preparation or mode of preparation for this exam, how you will tackle any questions from this side. Understand these topics and syllabus, always you should keep in mind your syllabus, because syllabus is very, very important. Why? Whenever you read the news, which topic is relevant for the exam, how will you identify, how will you pick up, sometimes people confuse what to read in newspaper, what not to read in newspaper. So how will you know that? If you are aware of the syllabus, if you know the syllabus, directly you can strike or you can pick the news, which is very important. Right? Because suppose inflation rate or something, some inflation rate is going, headline inflation is this. If you know headline inflation, then you can know headline inflation is this. Okay. So this is our first. So we'll start with the first chapter, that is characteristics of Indian economy or background of Indian economy. What is our Indian economy? Characteristics of Indian economy. What is this and how you will know what are the characteristics of India's economy or Indian economy? What are the present characteristics? What are the characteristics of Indian economy? Okay, it is a mixed economy. Then what else? It is a mixed economy. Then agrarian economy. Agrarian economy. Our growth is service-led growth. Service-led growth. Why service-led growth? Our growth model is service-led. So then we have a problem of it is the fastest growing nation, though, but our GDP recently has slowed down. Our GDP rate has come down over the last few 7 years, 5 years low. It is very low. So fast, but it is a faster, right? So faster growing economy, or you can write emerging economy. That is right. Emerging term is emerging economy. Or you can write this, no problem. Fast emerging economy. Indian economy is emerging economy. Means growing at a very faster rate. Growing at a faster rate means emerging economy means growing at a faster rate, right? This means emerging economy. Then India's capital output ratio is very low. Capital output ratio is low or is inefficient. Then saving investment is also very low, is also low. Then inequality, high degree of inequality, high degree of inequality. exist in India, and India's poverty has declined, but again poverty is also more, means absolute poverty has declined, number of people who are living below poverty line has declined, but number of inequality, people, if you see the income gap between the people have widened, so higher degree of inequality, saving investment is low, then higher degree of inequality, then what else problem? Unemployment is also very low, or a high degree of unemployment. Unemployment is rising, or it is many people there. Unemployment is also more unemployment. Or you can write unemployment high. Then 9. This means increase. Then regional disparity. Regional disparity is also existing in Indian context. Regional disparity is there. Finally, you can say last, both positive and negative is mixed here. So finally, you have 3 Ds. But these are just indicative features. Whatever the features you find in Indian context, you can mention those features. What is India's characteristics? India is mixed economy. Good, India is a agriculture based economy. That is also right. India is service. India's growth is based on service. That is also correct. Or India's growth is basically service led or service driven growth. Because our growth means whatever the income, that is basically majority of income comes from the service sector. India's majority of income comes from the service sector. That's why our growth is service led or service driven. Then emerging economy, because we are also fastest growing, though recently we have come down, but it is a faster growing economy. Last few years India is, if you see the growth, GDP, it was very high, or it was fastest in the world. Then 3Ds is there. Capital output is very low. Capital output means, we will talk about all these things. First go through the mixed economy. What is mixed characteristics of Indian economy? What does it mean by? What is mixed economy for India? What is a mixed economy concept? Coexistence of public and private sector, right? Coexistence, simultaneous existence, coexistence of public and private sector, or you can public and private coexist or simultaneously exist together. Coexistence of both public and private is called mixed. If economy, mixed means what? Mixed means, see, neither we are following a socialistic pattern nor a pure capitalistic. We are a mixed society. In practically, no country is a pure socialistic or pure capitalistic. Though we are referring US as a capitalistic society. But means, why you are calling a capitalistic US? Because degree of orientation towards capitalistic is more. Means they give priority to the private class or private individuals in providing economic services or economic activities. See, if degree of orientation, degree of emphasis is more, then we can say it is a capitalistic. China is following a socialistic model, because in China government dominates, public sector dominates almost all those economic sectors. That's why Chinese economy is called socialist economy. That does not mean China in private sector does not exist in China. They exist, but government controls a larger portion of economic activity. That's why it is called socialistic. For example, you are calling a government or private. How you know the government bank? You are calling government bank, private bank. How you do know? A government company, private company. How do you know that? If it is not pure government, 50% above means it is government. 50% above means if government holds more than 50% share, it is a government. If government holds less than 50, it is a private. Or private holds more than 50, it is a private. Similarly, if more than 50%, you can say 80% activity is controlled by government, there is a socialistic. If 80% activity or 90%, 60%, 70%, whatever, means more than average, is controlled by the public sector, it is a government, public socialistic. If more than 50% is economic activity is controlled by the private, it is a capitalistic society. But we have given a emphasis mixed economy, and actually practically we are following if you can say a capitalistic model now. Although mixed model, so indicative planning. Our planning is basically indicative. When you write all these things, mixed people write, then you are writing, after that you write indicative. It will be more emphatic, more means it will be more visible in the sense that you are inculcating each and everything or very multifaceted dimension to this particular issue. Mixed economy means what? You are using our economies both coexistence public and private sector, but India is now following indicative planning since 90s, 80s, after all you can say 90s. Practically India is indicative, means India is giving more emphasis to private. Now you will find almost all the sectors private are opened. Almost all the sectors are open for private sector. Each and everything private is providing, from courier, postal, airlines, road, transport, railway infrastructure, not railway transport, railway infrastructure. Each and everything private is involved. That's why you can say our model is, we cannot say capitalistic, because our constitution is mentioned government, it is a socialistic setup. Again, how it is a mixed? So government will keep will remain as a watchdog. Government will act as a facilitator. Government will government will provider of justice. Government will be will interfere if the market fails to provide the or give justice to the poor people or underprivileged, or what you can say, if government fails, private fails to provide the justice or equity to the people, then government will come, or government role is there. That is, government role is there. So indicative planning we are following, or you can say role of private sector is more emphasized, giving more emphasis on private sector in economic activity or economics. We are more emphasizing on private sector participation. Is more emphasized here. Mixed economy means coexistence of both public and private, but private sector is playing a greater role than the public sector in providing. Government is playing a role of enabler. Government is playing a role of enabler, private sector is playing the role of provider. These things you have to write. See, mixed economy, traditionally we were a mixed economy. Traditionally government control was more. In 1950s to 80s you find government was controlling each and everything. Now see, telecom companies, government only BSNL was playing its monopoly. Now BSNL is faded from the market. Now private sector has played. You know, previously airlines, Air India or some public airlines, some private, few private sector. Now private, all private airlines people are using. Air India is coming down, or Air India is now no more visible in competition. Similarly, I am telling just example. See, how many government companies or government sector, how many private you count? In airlines, only Air India is there. Many private participants, competitors, players are there. In industries, steel industry, where government is controlling everything, steel plants, Steel Authority of India Limited. Now private steel plants, Jindal, Bhushan, any steel plant, Nippon, POSCO was coming again, that is there. Then your Mittal Steel, many steel plants are even. So that is means what? Private is gearing off. Then you find aluminum. In each and every sector, private participation is more. Even providing railway platforms, infrastructure, even providing defense infrastructure, foreign investments are there. So in defense infrastructure, so foreign means private. So indicative planning, or we are emphasizing more on role of private sector. Understand? When you write mixed economy, don't write coexistence public and private. Okay, but in our, if depending on the marks, if it is a very short 5 marks question, characteristics are asking, we write point and just. If it is 10 marks question, you have to again elaborate. If it is 20 marks, again you have to elaborate. So depending on the marks of question and depending on the type of question they ask, what is the 10 marker means you have to write 20 marks, you have to write more, you have to expand more on that idea. Okay. So mixed means, first of all, understand mixed concepts. Don't confuse with the concept. First know the concept, then you go to the additional part. First, mixed means coexistence of both public and private sector exist. Whenever they will ask what is mixed, it is the existence of both public and private. But if they ask, okay, then we are following which type of, but our orientation towards the capital, we are following US, not China. So our model is basically now US model, or following US pattern. So that US means what? US is a capitalistic society. So our orientation towards capitalist, but still government here controls, not government enabler means government provide rules and regulations. Government provided the broad framework under what private players have to participate. Government set the counters, broad line, boundary under which private will play. Government will not play. Government will simply captain, or you can say government will say just a it is observer. Government will see, okay, what the things are going in order or not. Whenever any disorder occurs in the society, government will come. That is the role of government. Because you find almost all the privates are any private education, private and hospitals, private hospitals are more gearing than the government hospitals. Private is now playing more and a very significant role in economics than the government. But only government has to ensure law and order in the society. Government has to ensure fairness, equity, justice in the society. Government will protect constitution and their government protect constitution. Government will act as a law. Government will implement policies for the weaker mass welfare. Government will act as a what? Government's role is what? Government role is a regulator. Good. Regulator or facilitator. Now we are not facilitator. Government role is facilitator. Regulator again a negative word. Now previously government regulator, now facilitator. Government is not keeping a tight control on the private party. Government is facilitating. Okay, do the things, but mass welfare or mass you can say satisfaction or the societal benefits gain must be there. Private player has to participate, or private will involve, or private sector will be engaged, provided it should not harm the societal objectives. Private player must work with the objective of society. For example, Bihar government, they banned the liquor. Because why? Once government bans means private sector cannot enter to that. Because government feels that, okay, this is not necessary, this harms the citizens, this harms the society, this is negative externality to the society, so you should ban. Government ban means you will not enter. But government allows means, now see you private sectors are coming and they are starting their more MI, they have started their plan Make in India, under Make in India. Many foreign companies or mobile companies, telecom companies, manufacturing companies, they have started their manufacturing units in India. So this is what mixed means we are coexistence of public and private. Now private participation is more, government is playing role of an enabler or facilitator. Understood this or not? When you explain this term, try to explain from a 360-degree approach that gives some. Don't just write this term definition. If it is only 5 marks, 10 mark, okay, you can write. But if it is 20-30 marks, you have to explain in detail. 60, maybe 60 mark. They ask, because OPSC don't confine the 60 mark question. Also they ask some 10 mark or 20 mark question as it like you can write in 60. Means 60 marks. Question is 60 marks and you have to write that much words. Then where you will find and how will write this? So you have to use many things. So then agrarian economy, what is agrarian economy? What is agriculture based? What does it mean? Agriculture based means what?
GDP 50% dependent.
GDP 50% dependent.
Maximum people.
GDP 50%. Employment. On the basis of employment, we are saying it is agrarian. Then you are writing simple agriculture based economy, that is okay. But what condition you are writing? On what criteria you are saying it is agriculture agrarian economy? Criteria. What is the ground? What is your base? How can you say agrarian economy? Agrarian economy on the ground that majority of the section, that is nearly 50% population depend on agriculture. Nearly 50% of the population, that is 49. Population depends on agriculture. 49% of people depend on agriculture or not. So earlier it was 58, 60, 70% people. It has come down recently, but it has decreased. The percentage is decreasing, but still it is 50%. Average 50% of the people or population that depend on agriculture. That's why it is called agrarian society. This is based on the employment. Why you are saying India is an agrarian economy? Because majority of the population depends on the agriculture. Majority of the population depend on agriculture, or a large portion of the society depend on the agriculture. Nearly 50% people depend on the agriculture. That's why people depend on agriculture. That's why it is called agrarian economy. On the basis of agriculture, it is based on employment. Because the employment is basically it generates 50%. So it caters to the needs of the 50% of the population, employment. But again you have to write, if it is a 60 mark, again how will you expand this? You cannot confine with this, just write. I get 30 marks, 20 marks. It is more 20 marks also you have to expand. What you will write? Agriculture based. Necessary. Agriculture based and occupation means most of the people have the agricultural occupation. 50% of the people have agricultural occupation. They have agricultural, they do the agricultural activities. So what is that? Then you have to write, okay, this agricultural economy, you will find 50% of people employed, but there is just different types of employment present in this agriculture. Seasonal employment is present in this agriculture. Disguised employment. What is disguised employment? In particular, a peculiar situation, a very kind of eccentric, abnormal employment you will find here. That is called disguised employment is present here. Disguised. What is disguised? Particularly this is seen in the agriculture sector. What is disguised? Sometimes this is also asked in prelims. What is disguised employment?
Income is not productive.
The
income is not productive.
Income is not productive. How will define this? That is a little bit correct. Income is not productive. Income is always productive. If you earn, it is productive. You can say employment is not productive. Okay, what is that? How will define? Disguised means first literal meaning understand, then technical meaning will go to the technical part. Disguised employment means you are working but without any productivity. Without working, having no contribution to the, some for example, disguised, people are working, simulating to work. People are displaying that they are working, but they are actually not working. But that is actually the contribution from the last member is zero, or that is called marginal productivity of the additional labor. MP is equal to 0. When MP is 0, that is called disguised employment. MP is 0 means marginal productivity. What is marginal productivity? MP means marginal productivity. MP means marginal productivity of the labor is 0. MP means marginal productivity. 0 means what? Marginal productivity means what? Marginal productivity means the productivity of the additional labor. Marginal means additional. The production or the productivity from the additional labor is nothing, nil, 0, null. The production from the additional or the productivity of the additional labor is 0. Simple. Marginal productivity means the productivity of the additional labor. So 5 persons producing 5 pence. Now 6 person added, joined. 6th person. If 6 person, after the 6th person, still the production is 5 pence, then contribution from the 6th is nothing. If 5 person can produce 5 pence, 6 person can produce 5 pence, then 6th person contribution is 0. Then that person contribution is totally not necessary at all. That is completely not their presence, or the employment is no contribution to that employment, or the employment contribution is 0. So contribution, you are dealing income productivity, employment productivity. You are employed, but your productivity is not, means there is 0. 0 means nothing. So your production, your contribution does not add anything to the value of the output. Your contribution does not add anything to the production. If your contribution does not add anything to the production, it is called disguised employment. You are simulating to the work, but actually not working. For example, there are some students, some people who are studying. There are some people who are actually really inspired. They are really motivated to study. They are really listening. Some people are displaying. Displaying means what? They actually don't understand, but they try to do something because yes, we know. Means their contribution to the output is 0. They don't actually productivity. Productivity means what? Addition to the value. Productivity, the production by area, this productivity. So whatever the area is there, your production is 0. Why their production is zero? Because area is fixed. Suppose in this room, maximum capacity is 50 or 100 people can sit. If additional people sit, so they will not simply, they will create chaos. Rather than creating productivity, they will unproductive. They will spread unproductive. They will unproductivity things will come up. How? They will disturb others also. They will create chaos because many people. Suppose now you add another other people here. They will try to disturb, they will distort others, they will create chaos among these people, so others people will get disturbed. So what happens, size is fixed because our agricultural, why they discuss employment? It does not mean that they don't want to do anything. They want to do something, but there is no work for them. How there is no work for them? Already the agricultural land is overburdened. Already the land size is fixed. Our Indian agricultural land holding, their land holding distribution is very inequitable, or it is a kind of fragmented land holding. Some people have and also land holding is not properly distributed. So you have only fixed land. You have 5 persons. You are in your family. You have 5 members. Then 5 members, if they are employed in agriculture, and with a given land, and that actually land requires 2 persons, but addition of 3 is nothing. They can be shifted to any other work. But as they don't have any other work, they are forced to help you, or they come to the agriculture. Because they don't find any suitable work for them, so they are under compulsion. They are forced to work under this or agriculture, in the agriculture field, because there is no option for them available. So in a land which requires 2 persons, 5 persons are working. This is a very dismal condition, a very pathetic, or a very kind of you can say this is very stark reality of the society, that agricultural sector is overburdened, and again people are working because there is no work for them. In your area, suppose you are 5-10 members, so you are working. If 2 persons can work there, that is also same output will come up. So why the 5 persons are working in a given land? The 3 persons can be shifted to any other occupation. Then the productivity can increase. Their actual contribution will increase. So contribution from these 3 means 0. So they are actually, there is no work, so they are displaying, they are working. What is agriculture? I am doing agriculture work. But agriculture means there is no contribution, there is no production. So disguised employment is very much prevalent in Indian society. Disguised employment in agriculture is basically, it can be prevalent in other sectors also. But in agriculture mostly it is present in agriculture. Because here land size is fixed. Many people are employed, so you will obviously think that many people don't have any work, so that's they are going to agriculture. Therefore, doing agricultural activities.
And other sector to discuss
नहीं, किंतु जदि किसी केस रे एमती हो पारे लोक काम करुँच कि कंट्रीब्यूशन रोनी माने अदर सेक्टर जनरल प्राइवेट सेक्टर दे विल इवैल्यूएट द पर्सन्स एंड योर ऑन द प्रोडक्टिविटी विल बी पेड. So you will not be paid without any production. Private sector even aware, but sometimes government sector you will find people are there, they are not coming to the other production limited. Disguised employment is actually present in agriculture in Indian society, but it can be present. It can be present in other sectors, provided if the sector is that much unorganized. If sector nobody closely watches the production, and even if piece rate system, Taylor said piece rate system. Piece rate system, people should evaluate what number of units you produce, accordingly you will be paid. If that is there, then the production will be, your productivity is checked. Taylor, so Taylorism, scientific management, what is that? Piece rate system. So what is this? Productivity, you will be paid according to product. But example, government sector will find under people are not underemployed, sorry. This is a disguised, you will find many. Disguised means what? They are actually getting salary, no product, their income is there, but they are not optimally utilizing their potential. They are not utilizing to the optimum level. They are not giving their optimum capacity, or what is kinds of, they are underutilizing their governmental resources. Resources not utilized optimally. That's why government companies, government banks, government all are not inefficient. Inefficiency you will find. Inefficiency means what? optimally utilization of resource is called efficient utilization of resource. Optimal utilization of resource means what? Suppose this is your money 100 rupees, how you are gain maximum benefit out of this rupees. That is optimal, means best. So 100 rupees you can spend in any way, also reckless manner, so that is underutilize your resources. So government resources there which can be leveraged very well. For example, government office, you will find government banks, why they are suffering from NPA? If you read the government is capitalizing, government is infusing capital to these banks. Government has higher NPA, public sector banks have 12% NPA, private sectors have very less. Because they are, so actually disguised employment is not present in other, because everyone is getting salary depending on the service or his contribution to the sector they are giving, but still some, because government is not closely here like foreign governments. In foreign what, they work like private. Foreigners, government is also working like private. Everyone there means what, every thing, every system is checked very minutely, or every system has some kind of proper law and order and proper you can say they follow the system very rigorously, and they evaluate the persons on the basis of merit, and they reward the persons also on the basis of their performance. Then you will find most of the governments, it is like a private means okay, private player is there, but private system you know what is the main efficiency or the main merits of the private system. Private system is private. What is the difference between private and government? Okay, what are the government? Government is mass, government is very large scale. Other than this, efficiency matters in private. If you are efficient, not efficient, you will be removed from the private system. But inefficiency also exists in the government, or not? There are many inefficiencies exist. That's why government is not performing, is not competing. But that is why I am telling, from that point of view, you can say they are disguised. They are not, their marginal productive labor is zero, but they are getting salary. There are some people in the government that are contributing actually in reality. Though they have educational qualification, they have gone through a merit system, they have passed the education, even many OS officers, they are underperformers, they are evaluated as. Probably they don't want to work. That is different case. So here people want to work, but they are not getting work. That's why they are forced to work under this condition, under a overburdened, or you can say they are working in a utilized capacity on that system. Overutilized means already that is utilized. That there is resource capacity is less. So capacity is less, and you are using that resource means you will not get anything, but you are simply using that. Are you getting or not? Suppose you are studying a book, very big books or something, you are going and studying. But production is, what is productivity? Output is zero. That is it, means beyond the capacity. So people don't have that much contribution to this sector. So agricultural sector is facing disguised unemployment or employment. Disguised employment, obviously disguised employments, people are overburdened. This sector is already this sector already has achieved its full potential. Now these people, excess people who are working in this sector, they can be shifted to any other sector. They can be shifted if job is created for them. This is the situation of agriculture. So our India is a agrarian based, because majority of population depend on agriculture. Then what is service led growth? Our GDP, now it is based on the contribution to the GDP. Like it is based on the contribution to the employment, it is based on the contribution to the GDP. Our majority people depend on agriculture. Here majority income, major portion of the income comes from the service sector. A service sector contributes maximum to the GDP, nearly 58% to the GDP. That's why it is called, our growth is service driven growth. Our growth is understood or not? So service led growth means what? Service driven growth. Growth is our growth, GDP, economy, income If your 100 rupees is the country's income, 58, more than 50% comes from the service, and rest comes from other agriculture and industry. There are three sectors, na? Basically three. So service-led growth or not? Because when you write service-led growth, simply do not write this. You have to explain why you are calling it a service, because